That's on the political level, but even regionally, when they went and get involved into the Syrian crisis, they abandoned their backbone backer in the region, as well as with Iran. They took some
Look,
of them.
I'm not going to go into the Syrian crisis because one way or another.
Also Hezbollah. I mean, they severed relationship with Hezbollah for some time. That's something regionally, which influences directly what happened in Gaza as well.
I'm not going to. Which weapons?
For example, the cornets, the hornets, or these weapons which were used, anti-tank ones. They
had a few weapons.
They used them. They did not have them in the previous.
They're not going to have. They're not going to have them again. I mean, I just think this is fantasy. They're not going to have them again.
They were very
effective
against
the Egyptian border is going to be sealed. Yes, there'll be some corruption, and they'll be able to smuggle in some things. But
it was sealed before.
No, I mean, if you look at
Sisi, when he came to
right,
power, he blocked it totally.
That's
Morsi blocked it.
I don't want to get into details. Morsi was not great. He was not terrible. It wasn't completely sealed off until Sisi came to power. But it's silly to quibble about these things. The important thing...
Do you think the Israelis can really seal their border now from the tunnel sites?
My opinion, can they seal themselves from the border, from the tunnels?
I mean,
of course. Listen. You very correctly said the tunnels were built with their hands. It's true. They were using shovels, and they apparently developed some sort of mechanism with a bicycle. I don't know exactly how it worked, in order to dig the tunnels without making noise, because they knew if they made the noise, it would be a signal detected. But let's be for real. If they could build those tunnels with the most primitive earth-moving equipment, you don't think that Israel can bring in some very deep-going bulldozers and build a wall that's much deeper than the tunnels and just pour in cement?
Some stories that been running around is that yes, Morsi or Sisi put steel to block these tunnels, but there are other stories that said that this steel was recycled by the Palestinians, used in different ways.
Maybe
they went underneath it.
I'm not going to argue these things. I want to be realistic and sober because I don't want to play an armchair general. I want to see some justice, old-fashioned word, some justice to be achieved by the people of Palestine. When I look at the historical record, in order to budge Israel and to leave the Sinai, it required the full might of the Egyptian army on one front, combined with, not as significantly, the Syrian army on the other front in 1973. That's what it required to get Israel to give up the Sinai. In order to get Israel to withdraw from Lebanon in May 2006, it required a 20-year-long guerrilla war by a formidable guerrilla army that was armed freely by Iran and Syria through a porous border. There is nothing remotely comparable among the people of Gaza.
There are two things
we should stop weaving fantasies. And as I said, when a strategy continues to fail, the sensible thing is to rethink and try alternatives. Now, you could say to me, no alternatives are available. I don't agree with that. There is an option that can work, I think. I can't prove it.
Now, let's talk here about what is in play in the next, for Israel, after what happened in Gaza. What is the next adventure they can go through? They've been annexing, taking more, grabbing land, but do you think that they are there for another war in the near future?
No. Israel is perfectly aware. First of all, we have to remember, I'm not defending Netanyahu, he's a monster. We agree on that. He did not want originally to go into Gaza. He thought that he would bang up Hamas, get Hamas to do something crazy, and then he can go say, you see, I told you so. Hamas is a terrorist organization, and we can't recognize this unity government or coalition government that they formed in April 2014. But things started escalating out of control. He found himself in this situation which he actually didn't want. Not to say he's a good guy, he just didn't want to, because he did pretty awful during Operation Pillar of Defense in November 2012. He didn't want a repeat of that. But things started to escalate, and then, you know...
Well, he escalated them.
He escalated them,
You
but...
cannot say that the three Israelis...
No, I said he wanted to evoke some crazy act by Hamas so he could say to the EU and the US to break off relations with the newly formed unity government because Hamas is terrorist. That's what he wanted. But then when he started to try to provoke them, the projectiles started to come. And then he couldn't stop the projectiles coming because Hamas had its own strategy.